Welcome
Welcome to
to Shady
Shade
and
and the City. I'm your girl Treese.
It's Nels.
And today, y'all, we are here to get into none other than the 90-Day Fiancé, Season 11, Episode 5. Love is not enough. All right. So, yeah, y'all, if you haven't already, and please let me know what you would rate this episode. I'm gonna keep my opinion to myself. I just want to know what y'all thought about it, okay? But if you haven't already, please make sure that you hit that like button for us.
And a subscribe button.
And y'all, let's jump right into it. And yeah, let's get shady.
I already finished mine.
Terrible. Let's jump into
Treese's favorite couple.
It's not my favorite couple. However, I again, like Nell said, when they're being real with us, I don't mind it. So we get to see Shekinah and Sarper. They've made it through the security checks. They're on their way to America, right? Sarper feels like he's now under Shekinah's control. His routine is a little bit broken. And so, he knows that he doesn't handle that well. 13 hours later, they land in Los Angeles, and Sarper says that flight was torture and says he has to admit he has respect that Shekinah took that flight 14 times. And I said, okay, Sarper, okay. And says he would never do that.
She really started to catch an attitude. She really started to catch an attitude because he said that. I'm like, but he just did, girl. He just did it, okay? Relax.
Right. And he was like, no. And he even said, he was like, but I show you love in other ways. But that's not going to be it. I ain't even going to hold you. I thought it was cute. I was like, go ahead, Sarper. You do show her love in other ways, okay? So then Shekinah stops him before they leave, and I thought this was super cute as well. And they show some public affection because we know in Turkey they absolutely can't do that. Even Sarper says that they would have gotten stoned. So I just thought that was beautiful. And so she's happy that he's finally in America, but admits that she doesn't think 90 days is enough time for him to for them to be walking down the aisle. He still got to meet her daughter. She has a very small apartment, which we're gonna get into. Shekinah, you are not ready for love, but anyway, so she has a very small apartment, and her family don't really rock with him nor her. So on the ride home, they stop by her homegirl's house, who happens to live in a mansion in LA, because we know she lives in LA. So I think Sarper, because he's real excited. He's like, the beauty of it all.
Whatever. Now, the work on her face looks good.
Yes.
She looks still soft. She looks good.
Yes, her friend did.
Yeah.
Yes, she does. So Sarper, I think he thought that he was going to be walking into this or something similar with Shekinah, right? Because this woman got calves in her house. She out here housing her dog.
That's what she named the little house cows, ribeye and brisket.
That
is messed up.
That is messed up. Oh, damn. Not ribeye and brisket. That would be something my uncle. That'd be something my uncle would do. So yeah, basically, then they pick up Adonis, which Adonis is very excited to see Sarper. Now this other little dog, he don't really know too much about. So basically, we get inside Shekinah's house, and it works from home, literally. Okay. But here's my thing. I think that there's a way that you can set up a partition or do something that can somewhat isolate, because you have no living area because you've set up your business. Mm-hmm. And then got the nerve to move this man over here. He can't work in the 90 days, and tell him that, well, I don't want to make my female clients uncomfortable, so you can't be here.
Or cook nothing.
Or cook anything. I have the ittiest bittiest this easy bake oven of mine, but you can't use it because I don't want none of these clients to smell the food. Shekinah, you are not ready to love. Talk about somebody that didn't.
Or ready to live. Look, Sarper said, well, how are we going to live? She's like, you can
And
go
what's
get
so crazy
food.
to me is clearly it had to be the money from this show that paid for that K1 visa, because it clearly wasn't what she was making.
She spent it all on food, eating out all the damn time, apparently.
Well, she's eating sticks of butter. So as long as she don't start eating $12 cartons of eggs, we good to go.
That's part of the carnivore.
Oh, well. All right. Stevi and Madhi.
We just ain't gonna cook them. Yes, Stevi and Maddie. So they're heading over to her dad's house. He's super nervous. When they arrived, she let her dad know that Maddie was nervous. Daddy said, well, he should be. Maddie said, they all sitting around the fire pit with all these like weapons looking like wrong turn or something. I loved when he said, this is he was like, this is America.
Right. He said it without saying it. This is America.
Now, it didn't help that, he got even more uncomfortable because a damn black cat was roaming around. We know how you feel about cats. Then she tried to scare him, talking about how
right. Do you know the myth about black cats?
Black cats, that they bad luck. And he was like, we got to say the same thing in our culture, although we don't like cats at all, ma'am. Okay. Of course, they start talking about Iran and, the tension between them and the U.S. And Maddie said he knows, when you turn on the news, there's all these things, targeted towards the U.S., but, that's not who he is. Then he gets into how, they treat women, and Maddie gives an example saying, if a woman is trying to leave the country and she's married, her husband has to sign something. So Stevie is like, oh, like property. I said, oh Lord, here we go. Okay. Her dad says, his major concern, that's his major concern because, the way, he was raised to like rule over her. And Maddie is just kind of like, you don't know me, sir. Like, right. Here we go with this BS. Okay. So he said that he was brought up in a family where they respected all the laws, but as he got older, he realized that stuff just didn't make no sense. And he realizes that women are not property. So when they sat down for dinner, they talked to Maddie about, how he teaches English and, how he speaks very well. Maddie said, well, actually, I was more concerned about your English, sir. Okay. Because your daughter told me that you sound like one of them hicks up in the woods.
Yeah, he did kind of sell her out. He sold her to the wolves. I said, damn.
He's like, but I hear you just fine. I can understand you. You ain't talking like you got a whole mouth of tobacco.
Look, even her daddy, he paused for a real long time. He was like, you said that about me? He was like, you really said that about me? I was like, I'm sure when the cameras went off, there was a conversation.
So then he throws Stevi under the bus, I guess, kind of. He was like, Stevi kept you a secret till just a few days ago. I just found out about you. Okay. And really, I feel like y'all should wait. I don't see no point in y'all, get married in this 90 days. Why can't y'all just wait to, see how it goes and get to know each other better? And Maddie basically said, well, that's how the K1 visa works. Okay. We don't make the rules. Then he said, I know you just want to come here for the freedom of it all. What? Sir, he don't want to be in your daughter's apartment with titties everywhere. He cool without all of that.
Right.
Girl, and the mannequins with the lingerie in the window.
And y'all eating all this poke around him.
Exactly. So he was like, how do I know that you're not just, marrying my daughter just to come to America? And he said, what, that's a valid question. Okay, I know people do it. He was like, but the only person that can prove that I'm not that type of person is Stevi. So her brother asked, do y'all love each other? And he said he's never been in love with anyone more than Stevi. He said he's not sure he's ready to, well, I'm sorry, the dad said he's not sure he's ready to give his blessing yet, but he does seem like a nice and genuine guy. Then they go outside, have some s'mores, and we know this man is getting a sweet tooth. He loving it. They told the boy he gonna be fat. Okay, he gonna have a big back. All right. He said, I know it. So I'm gonna keep on eating it.
So let me ask.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So then in the house, Stevie thanked Wendy, for doing all of this. She said she know her man is homesick, but then mentioned the comment that he made about going the hell back home. And she was like, we did talk it out, but not enough. We got to get down to the bottom of this. And she basically said, the pressure is on because all she can do is show him what his life would be like here with them together. Which was
is it? Do you think that he's acting?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to get a feeling, and maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think that he would take the risk of coming over here and being jailed by leaving and going back home and not being able to see his family.
Okay. That's a very good
playing
point.
games. So no.
Okay. That's a very good point. I got to give him that. You're right. Okay. I see the light.
But a lot of people from different countries, especially like Middle Eastern countries.
I mean, that's like I feel like, and I don't know, and I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but that's like and not saying it was some same circumstance, but what was it? The Muhammad and Eve, and then as soon as he got over here, he tried to make it seem like she was crazy and she was beating up on him because she just wanted him to keep his behind in the house and watch her kids. And that's not what he did. And he ended up getting citizenship because there's a law where if you experience a word when you're a part of this whole 90-day situation, it gives you automatic U.S. citizenship.
I don't think
that's how Michael got it.
But I genuinely don't think that he really cares about being a U.S. citizen.
Okay. I don't know. Sometimes he just seems very like, and maybe it's his personality and it might be a cultural thing, but he just seems very like, yeah.
Spacey a little bit.
Yeah. Spacey.
I think he's just spacey.
Okay. He's just spacey.
All right. You know what? I don't even want to say spacey, but he seems like he's in his head a lot. Like he's in thought a lot.
He gives me he reminds me of the guy. What's his name?
When you say spacey,
it makes you think of Stacy. I know.
No. When you say spacey, it makes you think like there's nothing up there. But I don't think that there's nothing up there. I think he's just in his thoughts a lot.
Oh, you weren't gonna let Stacy catch that shade.
I'm watching no damn Stacy.
No, I get what you're saying. He's in his head a lot. He reminds me of whatchamacallit from the little boy. I can't remember.
You talking about the dude, Sheldon?
Yes, he gives me Sheldon.
I love Sheldon.
Yeah, he gives me Sheldon vibes. All right, so let's get into Mark and Mina, y'all. So Mark and Mina are headed to North Carolina to visit his family. He says his parents and brothers are there. His daughter Jordan is coming up from Florida with her boyfriend Gabe to join them as well. On their way to the hotel, he asked Mina, well, he has to fly them there personally because, that's just what he do. But on their way to the hotel, he asked Mina I wonder if they pay parking fees for their planes. Like, you have to pay when you park to go to the airport and you leave your car there while it's you out in the air or wherever. I wonder if they
don't call it. They don't call it an airport. They call it a clearport. Okay.
Ooh,
probably. We don't know nothing about that. Probably not. Who knows? And if you got your own plane, who cares? You probably got it.
Well, that part. So basically his he asked Mina if she's excited about seeing everybody, and she's not really sure about that or actually she just really don't know how she feel about seeing Jordan. She tells him that she doesn't like her behavior, and he spills the beans. And I was like, Mark, what are you doing? That he spoke to his daughter about the conversation that they had in the jacuzzi, which I was like, isn't this how you ended up in this situation in the first place? And so Mina is even more annoyed. And even Maria is screaming in the back.
Didn't she throw something?
Right. I was like, see,
Like, Daddy, no, that ain't what you're supposed to be doing.
look, even the daughter was like, this is some bullshit, Daddy. So, so she admits in her confessional that, he should have, he admits in his confessional, he should have let them talk it out, and kept his mouth shut. And Mina questions why he needs to go and discuss their intimate couple pillow talk conversations with his daughter. She makes it clear that she's not comfortable now. And so Mark tries to get her to see the beauty of the beach. And she tells him, look, I don't care. Stop it. Stop trying to sell me on. I don't give a damn. I don't care if it's a wish, if it's a well. I don't give a damn. What is over there? And so Mina says that, she's furious because she feels like their private conversations should remain private. And so as he's trying to cheer her up by showing off their Airbnb once they arrive, she tells Mark, since Jordan's already mad, she plans on putting something sexy. Let me really piss off, okay? So Mark wants them to get out on time, because the reason why Jordan doesn't care for Mina in the first place is because she showed up 4 hours late to the baptism. Now, again, I still think that although I love that he cares about his kids and their opinion, I still think that the fact that your grown child who is out on her own is running your life and your decisions is a little bit disturbing. And the fact that you need to include her or make excuses for reasons why I don't know. I don't like it.
Mina, towards the end, she spoke her mind, but I think Mina did a good job biting her tongue.
Oh no, I think Mina did an excellent job. My point of view of Mina actually really, I had to give her things this episode. And so basically, then they finally meet them on the beach or whatever. And Jordan, we see Jordan there waiting. She's like, oh, look, they late again. So things are awkward when they first arrive. Jordan brings up, having not seen Maria for a while. And she comments on how she's still in disbelief. And I was like, what? Okay, let me get it out first. So she said she's still in disbelief that he has a baby and she didn't expect to have another sibling. And I said, why did you need to say that?
Because she's a rude.
Because at the end of the day, you might not expect it. And if that's something you want to sit down in therapy and talk to your father about, that's fine. But what you don't do is sit up here in front of what is soon to be your stepmother and her child.
And your stepsister.
And your stepsister. But then that's another thing that pissed me off about her little ass. But I don't feel included. I feel like you have this family and I'm not a part of that family.
But you don't want this family, so you're excluding yourself.
That part. So Mark brings up obviously the obvious tension. Jordan admits that like I said, she feels like she's not a part of the family. And she says in a confessional that basically it does feel more real now that Mina and Maria are there. Mina tells her, so basically you thought she was a plaything and she was just something your dad knocked up and she was staying friends, but he wasn't taking her seriously.
Yeah.
I know that, but that's what makes it even more disgusting. She doesn't, she doesn't think her father would have another baby if he was dating someone closer to his age. Mina, and my notes say, is trying to keep her composure. Jordan talks about how she didn't expect her father to move a certain way that he did after her parents' divorce. And Mark starts trying to explain himself, which pissed me off even more, and then lets her know that he doesn't need her permission to have another baby. Okay. But it's still, he's trying to put his foot down, but it's not really working. So this pisses Mina off. And she tells her, look, it's my decision, it's my body. All right. And so Jordan says, it isn't what she envisioned or what she wants for the family.
Things don't always work out the way you envision, boo.
Right. So he's still trying to explain himself when Mina tells him, look, let me talk to Jordan.
Your life.
Right. So she's like, Jordan, hit my really big. Let me talk to you alone, Jordan. Okay.
I thought she was going to let her have it when she did that.
And she was still, and that's why I said, I got to give Mina her things. So Jordan, because she was still digging at her. Jordan says that she feels like she didn't feel included when they came for the baptism. Mina tells her, that's not her fault, that she needs to talk to her father about that. Jordan says, as his wife, she thinks Mina could have made more of an effort, and she brings up her showing up 4 hours late. Mina tells her that she's sorry, she's confused, and doesn't know her story. And she lets Mina know that she's made it clear to her dad she wasn't okay with him having another baby. Again, Mina's better than me. She tells her she could consider, she was like, if you would have considered my father's age, then yeah, if that's what you want to do, and that's something that you want to do, you need to go find somebody that's closer to that age to do so.
And who the hell are you to tell me what I need to do?
And that's why I'm happy. I'm happy that Mina,
me and your father agreed to this at his age, at his big age. Girl,
and that's why I'm happy Mina didn't smack the dog and risk, as what Simon say, when you green card holder, you gotta be, you gotta live above the law. Okay. So I'm happy she ain't.
And we seen that Mina could give it to her.
Right. And so you know what? And so, and then basically Mina tells her, I know it's because you think of my age or whatever. You think, I'm just here for a green card or whatever. And Jordan says, well, yeah, no, that was my first thought. She had the patience of Job. Okay. All right. And so finally Mina breaks it and says, look, bitch, you're a snake. Okay. And I don't see it for you. And so really, you ain't even really got to come to me and your daddy's wedding. If you don't bless them,
she was like to our wedding. She was like, oh, you don't want me to come to my dad's wedding? She's like basically, that's how you want to say yes.
Yes, yep. Don't come.
Yes.
You're absolutely not welcome. And I wasn't even mad at it because I understand, and I understand respecting your children and their opinions and whatever. But at the same time, I just thought it was very unfortunate because it's not like if anything happened to her father that she gonna run and go take care of them babies. No damn way. So, or we could have grandchildren. Like I could have a kid. I might want to have a kid in a few years, and you're having to get that would be weird. Okay, well you need to get over whatever concepts there or whatever because it's not weird. Because my whole thing is your dad chose a younger woman. Like you're mad at me because I'm the younger woman, but your dad chose me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just mad because I got chosen. You better get the fuck out of here. All right, let's get into this cluster because it's not even.
All right. Next up is Amani, and Matt.
Oh, so now it's Ani.
What did I say before?
You said Annie.
Child.
See, and I was saying Ani, and you kept. I'm just saying for the people in the back.
Anyways, they all woke up in the bed together. Okay. Ani said that she tried to get something from Amani last night, but she wasn't feeling good. So she took her behind to sleep and her and Matt did the do. Okay. And I don't know. Okay. But even in a confessional, it was given Matt and Ani are girlfriend and boyfriend, and Amani is a side piece for us.
I literally was just about to ask you that question.
They was hugged up like this while Amani was just holding the girl's hand all the way up here. Like, girl, you didn't pick up on that? Like, you don't see them hugged up? Like,
you so jealous and you didn't pick up on that?
Right? Like, who are you?
But I think, you know what I think? I think she was so busy trying to fulfill a need that she had. Mm-hmm. She didn't realize she was fulfilling a need of her husband.
She was the one that was hell bent on it. She's doing her, and it's giving them two really about to push you out, especially after this divorce, man. Look, don't end up like, what's her face? What's the girl name? Mary.
Oh, Mary from Sister Wives. Yeah, don't end up like Mary where he be trying to put you over the garage.
All right, so they're getting ready to go on their trip. Ani said she's never been to Ensenada with a nice guy before. Amani said, or a couple. Girl, that ain't what she said. She ain't thinking about you, boo. The girl
Right.
ain't thinking about you.
It was so
Then
many signs that were
so many
blaring
signs.
red.
So many signs, but she's love struck. So in the car, Amani is telling her, she's excited to see her city and meet her family. And Ani told her, well, I don't know, I'm a little scared. So Amani's like, what you mean? Okay. And asked what her family knows about her and Matt. And she said, well, my brother thinks that Matt is my boyfriend and that you're my friend. And understandably, Armani got pissed. Okay. She said, I'm the third wheel coming all the way to Guadalajara. Yeah, exactly. It's now clicking. It's clicking. Okay.
Right.
She said it's triggering to be hidden because majority of her life she had to be hidden due to her culture. And she promised herself she ain't doing that no more. So Armani said, what's the plan? Ani, she promises that she is going to present her as her girlfriend, but she said, it's not that she's dating a woman. She feels like her family will be okay with that. It's that she feels like it would be hard for them to understand that she's dating
Dating
Matt
both of them.
and
Right.
Ani. Okay. She said, it's giving threesome over here.
I mean, it's hard for us to understand as well.
Mm-hmm,
I mean,
mm-hmm.
if you just want to have a fun time and a fun night, that's cool. But y'all trying to make a lifestyle out of this.
Exactly. Amani said that she definitely should have told them, before they came, and Ani was given, okay, well, I didn't, but, and what now? And she said that her family is Catholic. Her dad goes to church every day. And the rule says, you need to stay with one person. So she's worried that her family will accept her. And Armani said that, we all made sacrifices. Okay. The least you can do is introduce us to your family. And she promises her that she will. She just said, I need a little more time,
No, I think she's gonna introduce him to her family. She's just gonna introduce him as her boyfriend and her as her homegirl.
Well, this is not what Armani wanted to hear. Because she said she thought that they was coming to, get the family's blessing, not be hidden. And now, she's feeling like this girl is not taking the relationship serious. So then they get to this gorgeous hotel room. Okay. It's beautiful. Armani is still feeling some type of way because of what Ani said in the car. And she said, what, she's going to tailor for right now because she don't want to mess up the trip. But then she goes outside by the fire pit and she's talking to her husband. She was like, don't you think what she said was kind of weird? He was like, yeah, it did make me think, made me feel a certain type of way. And, she said that it hurt her feelings to, be hidden because she dealt with her entire life. And she says, I deserve better. We deserve better. Girl, don't get that divorce, girl. They gonna leave you. You gonna wake up and they gonna be gone. Just like they did that stuff while you were sleeping, girl. They gonna pack and leave while you sleep. And she said, maybe I should stop playing so nice and I should make things more clear. And he was, still play nice, but definitely bring it up. So she said she'll sleep on it. So then they all get in a hot tub, and Armani starts talking about how Matt is shy. And Ani said, well, yesterday, girl, while you was asleep, we had sex. So really, it was given, how shy is he?
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
He wasn't shy with me. Okay. And she's like, thanks. At least somebody had enough respect for me to tell me because my husband didn't. And he like, I wasn't hiding it. Okay. He said,
and then what's so bad, I feel bad for her because she said, or from what Matt said, she wasn't feeling well. So y'all just discounted her because the girl wasn't feeling. Obviously she can't participate, but y'all can't wait until she wake up.
He said after the first round. So I guess she was a part of it initially. Right. Why? But if okay, we're gonna get into this. This is why people do this if they have these type of issues, right?
Right.
So he's like, okay, well, I didn't know, I'm supposed to tell you. Like, I just figured if we all here,
all
like,
in
it's
the same bed, why does it matter? You can't
yeah,
feel.
we're all in a relationship, okay? So Ani starts to apologize and she's like, no, it's okay. But, somebody should have said something. So he's like, okay, but is it cool or is it not cool? Like,
I'm confused. I'm
right?
confused because you told me that I could other female, this one in
Exactly.
particular.
Exactly. And she said, it's about the communication. She said she wants to
You
be
gotta
treated.
tell me that you effing at other female.
She said, I want to be treated with
Even though I'm gonna let
consideration.
you marry her.
And Ani said, you know what? I'm a woman too. I get it. And Matt said he's feeling ganged up on. And, he's set up for failure because now he got to read two women's minds. And I feel bad for Matt because if I'm in a relationship with both of you, why do you get, like, is it a seniority thing? Because are y'all not at the same level? Like, is it like, because if this is my girlfriend or, my partner and you're my partner, I mean, is it like, am I supposed to be treating you with like a higher rank because you're my wife and she's just a girlfriend? Because that's not a relationship. It's supposed to be even all across the board. So that means I got to tell her when I'm screwing you too and you my wife? No, we all in a relationship. Why I got to?
I didn't think about it like that, but that's a valid point right there.
I felt him. I felt bad for him. If you telling us we all get down, we all together, we're all in a relationship. Just like he
She
shouldn't be
probably
upset
feels like
if he does it.
we all gotta do it, all gotta do it at the
Well, that's
same time.
crazy. That's crazy. And that's not how thruples work. That ain't how thruples work.
Maybe some do. Maybe some do.
That they have to get down together all the time. All for one and one for all. I don't think so. You got to get permission from everybody.
Yeah, everybody needs to sign off.
That's not a relationship. That's crazy.
That's an agreement.
And really, it's not even permission from everybody. Armani just wants them to ask her for permission.
Well, this is true. But let's not do that. All right. So let's get into Alliya and Shawn. Alliya is celebrating because we already know that this is very short, y'all, because I was irritated just because we already know she got approved. Right. Mm-hmm. We already know that. So she's happy that they recognized her. I think that was one of the highlights. They did recognize her as a woman. Shawn, and so she calls Shawn and tell him the good news. Shawn meets up with his mother for lunch, which I actually like his mama. She seemed like a little firecracker.
She seemed like a good time.
Yeah, he and his mom are very close. She's the only person that even knows about Alliya. They talk about the difference between Douglas and Alliya because mom has gotten a chance to talk to both. And he says that his kids nor any of his closest friends know about her or that they're engaged. And he says he hasn't told his friends and family because the relationship keeps changing. So until he's clear, he doesn't want to get other people involved. Is what I got. Okay. So he said he's not hiding it, but he knows that his kids are going to have a reaction. His mother is seriously concerned about Shawn's children's reaction and not creating drama, which she says they're actually very good at doing. So, yeah, she said that. And I'm also concerned about how Alliya is going to feel about all the being on the other end of this. So we get to see Alliya's mom. She sits down with her and they're having one of their last conversations before obviously she gets on the plane to come to America. And apparently her mom has been one of her biggest supporters, which I thought was dope. However, Alliya knows her mother is concerned that Shawn may leave her now that she's transitioned. And I think me and Nels even kind of hinted to this. We don't really know. And I think even Shawn just said that in my last, what I just said, paragraph of what I said, he kind of hinted to, he's still trying to figure out whether he likes Alliya. Mm-hmm. We knew he liked Douglas, but I think he's still trying to navigate liking this new person, right? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so Alliya shares with her mother about how she's close with Shawn's mom, but his kids know nothing about her. And her mother feels like, he should have already said something and questions, why Shawn is hiding. Alliya. So yeah, that's all I have for them.
All right.
Oh,
So
Jessica and Juan.
yes, Jessica and Juan. So Juan is still being questioned by the friend, child. Okay. She wants to know why, you know,
It was the tears for me.
she wants to know why he was messing with some other girl. He was like, he's lonely. He was lonely, and he's human. Did you see the other one said, "How long you gonna be human for the
Yeah.
rest of
How
for the
long you
rest
gonna
of
be
my
human?
life
No. What it was,
until I'm ashes and ashes and
I'm
dust to dust?"
sad with you. Last time we were together and you looked me in my, I said, bitch, was he
She
fucking
literally started breaking down and said, "Well,
you?
why didn't you admit it to me when I confronted you in Colombia? Because who are you?"
Again, was he
Well,
fucking you? Because that's what it's
I,
giving.
you know what? I mean, you listen, Jessica, she just got to know her friends because I'd have been looking at her sideways like,
Right. I would have been like,
you
you were a little
like,
too emotional over this.
like, you cool?
Mm-hmm.
You cool? And so, apparently Juan feels the same exact way because he's like, I guess she took it the wrong way because the girl started to cry. And, she ain't even my fiance to be asking me about all of this stuff.
Right.
She's so emotional for her. Jessica lets her know, girl, I already knew it and we worked through it. It sounded like your friend could have put you at ease a long time ago and chose not to. Um, Jessica said at the time she wasn't in the best place either. And her friend is like, yeah, but you've never crossed the line. And she said, that she was catching feelings for her ex-boyfriend, but she didn't act on it. So Juan is like,
Right.
what?
What?
Ex-boyfriend? I know about a guy. You tell me about a guy that you were talking to. You ain't never say your ex-boyfriend. Okay. He said that changes the story completely. Of course, she's like, I told you, girl, bye. So on the ride home, Juan wants to know about this ex-boyfriend thing. Jessica is steady gaslighting him, talking about, girl, I told you. She said that she invited him over, but nothing happened. And he said, it's crazy that y'all constantly coming at me about things and that happened for me to find out about all of this. And she said, it's not the same thing because I didn't cheat. Yes, I give you that, Bookie. I give you that. That we know of. He said, you cheated on me emotionally. I said, what? Guys, don't say that. You can't say that. We use that.
Right.
We use that. You can't use that. All right. And then he said, next time I'm in Colombia, I'm gonna tell my ex-girlfriend to come through, while we alone, because we just friends. Mm, 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 mm. Then, oh, and then he said, and then I'll let you know in a couple years. Say, you petty, petty, petty. So, she keeps on saying that she told him and she said she was faithful for him the entire relationship, but he was being distant and she said she didn't act on anything. So he's like, what time
That's a
did he,
shady ass friend, though. There's
you
no
think,
way. I would
you
never
think,
throw you out to the wolves like that and be like even if I would have found a way to cover it up, but I'd be like, oh no, I didn't know what I was talking about. I'd be like, I was just drunk. I was
he
just
said,
talking. I
I
was
was
just
just,
drunk. I ain't mean
I was
nothing I said. That
just
girl, that girl love you. She wrote, look, I would have been, she wrote a song about you. That's how much she love you.
He's so silly. So he said, what time did he come by the house? And she was like, evening time. And he was like, what, the kids around? And she was like, no. What's crazy to me is, oh, you could have found a babysitter the night that the ex-boyfriend came through, but not when you was going to pick up your man from the airport.
That part,
That's crazy. What you needed a babysitter for if y'all wasn't doing nothing?
clock it
Because
now.
look, it looked
Clock
like it's
it.
hard to tell for you to get a babysitter. It seemed like, I mean, that's what I thought. Then she said we both could have communicated better. And really the only reason um, why she even knows about what he did is because he got caught. He didn't tell her. And he said, just imagine how I'm feeling being so far away from home and now I'm getting here learning this stuff. She's like, well, that makes my heart hurt. Just know that I love you. He said, thanks for loving me, but I still feel the same.
Now I ain't gonna hold you. That was funny. We said thanks for loving me, but it still feels
And
the
now
same.
he's feeling like they got a lot of stuff to work through before getting married. I said,
Look,
when he said that, I felt, he said, thanks for loving me, but I still feel the same. I said, oh,
no, I love Juan. Juan's quick on his toes. Juan
I
is like,
said,
he was like,
well,
you thought I was just some little banana boy on a cruise ship, and I ain't know nothing. And he said, "No, I'm hip."
he got me when he said you cheated on me emotionally.
Right.
And when he said, thanks for loving me, but I
Mm.
still feel this, I said,
They
all right,
must have
Juan.
look. They must have a therapist on that boat for the staff and the crew.
I ain't never heard no dude say you emotionally cheated on me. I said, yeah. I said, you
Right.
can't use that against us. We use that against y'all.
Okay. But yeah, y'all. So let us know what you thought about this episode of 90 Day Fiance. If you have not already, please make sure that you've hit the like button.
Make sure you comment
Make sure that you guys subscribe.
and you hit the notification bell.
And make sure you're following us on all the platforms, the TikTok, IG, Blue Sky, and the Facebook, y'all. And we will catch you next week for another recap. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Mm-mm-mm.